Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors for the Township of Falls meeting on today, July 27th, 2026. We're going to begin with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, everyone. Mr. Shepherd, can you take the roll?
Supervisor Galloway, Supervisor Latecki,
Present.
Supervisor Palmer,
Here.
Supervisor Dents, and Supervisor Mullen.
Here. Thank you. Item number one, Mr. Clark, can you comment on our executive session?
Yes, the board held an executive session prior to the start of this meeting to discuss a matter of litigation and also to receive information from my office and the manager regarding the e-bike ordinances. That was for informational purposes only. No deliberations occurred and no votes were taken.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 2, public comment. Mr. DiPolito, could you grab me the lists, please? Our public comment is going to last for 45 minutes. We have a time limit of 5 minutes per person.
Okay, the first name on the list is Kelly Kirkpatrick. If you could just state your name and whether or not you're a Falls resident.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kelly Kirkpatrick. I'm a Falls resident. I've actually been a Falls resident for 40 years. Pennsbury grad, class of 99. I've seen many supervisors come and go through the years, and I always thought that they had the best interest for our town. Phase 1 and seeking permits to add more environmental damaging things in Phase 2. The only town hall that was held lacked a lot of much needed information and didn't allow enough time for our questions and concerns. We need another town hall with a competent Amazon rep before anything further is approved. There needs to be a pause because I know, and I know our township does not want this. Do you want this in our town? Do you? Yes? No? Maybe. That is all.
Thank you, Ms. Kirkpatrick. Next name is Seema Kazmi. Seema, same thing, if you could just state your name and whether or not you're a Falls resident.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. Thank you, Falls Township Supervisors, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Seema Kazmi, and I am a resident of Falls Township. In light of the data center being built, I think about the new high school and the kids playing sports on the Falcon Field, breathing in pollution that can worsen asthma, COPD, and other respiratory. In order to support the electric needs of their data center, this results in homes in the pathway of a new voltage track to be condemned for the taking. In light of your approval, I had the following questions about the data center. How many substations are planned? Where is the transmission line infrastructure to feed the substation coming from? Does anyone here know? What is the peak load demand for this campus, for the data center? Does anyone here know? How is the air quality being monitored, given all of the gas and diesel generators that even though they are backup, they still get turned on to be tested? Or based on feedback from other areas, they get put on and then never turned off? Does anyone have any answers? Answers are being requested for the aforementioned questions. I've also noticed that the public meeting times for September, October, and November have been changed to 5 p.m. Not sure if that coincides for when the data center might be operating, and just wanted to know why that change was made, because people may be coming from work and may miss the public comment period if the meeting starts at 5. So does anyone have any, I know it was changed, but do you know why the meeting time was changed from 7 to 6 and now 5 o'clock for those meetings in the fall?
5 o'clock are only our work sessions. Those are primarily budget meetings.
So what about opportunities for, are you going to move the public comment to later in the meeting, later in the day? Can that be accommodated, or like?
Those are additional meetings particularly scheduled for the budget. That's not to say public comment can't occur at those meetings, but those are geared specifically to address the budget preparation process. So those are additional meetings.
So like, when would public comment start? At 5?
It would.
But then what about people that have to come from work?
There's an additional monthly meeting for all of those months you just mentioned,
That begins
which
at
and that
6 p.m.
time is not changed.
Okay, so there'll still be a 6 p.m. meeting. Thank you for that clarification. With regards to the other questions about the data center, I am again requesting answers, and clearly additional review is warranted. The Pennsylvania Environmental Rights Amendment, Article 1, Section 27, guarantees the right to clean air, pure water, and the preservation of natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values, making the Commonwealth the trustee of public natural resources for current and future generations. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Seema. The next is Rosemary Frayne. Oh, okay. Thanks for coming. Kathy Haynes. Kathy, if you could just state your name and whether or not you're a resident.
Sure. My name's Kathy Haynes. I'm a longtime Falls resident. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here tonight about the blanket ban on e-bikes in the Falls Township parks. I understand and support the township's goal of addressing the reckless riding and unsafe behaviors, and those issues should absolutely be handled, but safely. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Thank you for your email earlier, too. Just so everybody knows, that is item number 11. So we're not taking action on that tonight, but at that time, we will take further public comment for anybody who wants to comment on item number 11. Next on the list is Don Massari.
Oh, no.
No? Okay. John Tadlock.
Hello.
Hi.
John Tadlock, longtime Falls resident. No matter where you stand on the data centers, whether you're for them, against them, or indifferent, the one thing I think everyone can agree on is that the lack of communication and the lack of transparency on this project has been appalling. Both Amazon and the Board of Supervisors have been complicit in this fiasco. At least I can understand Amazon. Amazon's primary purpose, like any company, is to make money. Their obligation is to the shareholders, and their concern for the community, the environment, or their employees is all secondary to their primary purpose, to make money. It's just business 101. However, the Board of Supervisors' obligation is to the residents of Falls Township to represent and advocate for your constituents, and you have fell short in that obligation. Why would you agree to sign an NDA with a corporation to obscure and conceal information from the public? At the November 25th, 2024 meeting, you were asked to sign an NDA, quote, because of the highly proprietary nature of what this company does. That was Mr. Clark, I believe. NDAs protect proprietary information. What you signed shielded the name of the owner and what they were proposing to construct. This is basic information, not proprietary information. The people of Falls Township had a right to know. To her credit, Miss Tony Batiste, she's back there, Tony, asked questions of the board at that time. And I have just a couple that I'm going to pick out of the minutes from that meeting. It was item 19 at the time. Chairman Dent said, "We cannot tell you the name of the company." Mr. Clark said, "You will know exactly who the company is when the time comes." And that kind of sounds like, "We'll let you know when we're ready." Chairman Dent said, "It is just the company name we cannot talk about." And although it's not in the minutes, if you watch the video record that, of the meeting, at one point, Mr. Dent's called the NDA a charade, and Mr. Clark admonished him to stop talking. The whole thing is just, I don't know. I expected better from the Board of Supervisors. Last week, I read where the old Kmart warehouse is being sold. 147 employees are being laid off. So likely the use for the building is going to change. The new owner, and they've not been named, take possession September 16th, 2026. I have to wonder what plans the new owners have for a 2 million square foot building located in an industrial zone. I don't know. I no longer have confidence that this Board of Supervisors will act in the best interest of the people of Falls Township. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tadlock. Michelle Earhart? Hey, Michelle, just state your name and whether or not you're a resident.
Okay, my name's Michelle Earhart. I'm a longtime Falls resident. Thank you for listening to me tonight. I just want to go on record continually to say that I'm really unhappy about data centers coming into my community. The more I have gotten involved in this process, I've been, reading and learning more about some of the things that are scary about them. Water consumption, what happens to the water after it leaves those factories, how it's affecting our communities. Apparently there's an overflow of wastewaters that is sent out to golf courses and other places to be used, thinking it's safe and okay, but could that be contributing to some things that are happening in our community in terms of bacteria and things spreading quicker because of that. So those are all concerns. I'm concerned about the electricity, concerned about my rates going up. I'm concerned about the noise levels. I live close to this area. I too find it very unsatisfactory the way things transpired in this data center coming into our community. I feel as though it was kind of either underhanded or it was not poorly researched, and there wasn't good exploration into what the challenges are and what the fears are and what things are occurring. As I'm learning more about data centers that are having problems throughout the community, it makes me increasingly disturbed. Many people, I don't think I just speak for myself, many people in this Bucks County area where this is happening are not happy about the data centers. My wish is that it will be slowed down in any way that it can, so that we can have more information and understand better what's going to happen and mitigate those negatives as much as possible. I don't think Amazon and the company that came in here would have taken such efforts to do it so underhandedly had they known that there were good things going on and they had nothing to fear. So that's a great concern to me. I did go to the town hall. I really wasn't satisfied with the information that was provided to me there. I felt like it was kind of a big smoke screen and a big sale for, this is good for your community. And I didn't appreciate that. I thought that there would be more reality there than there was. So, that's where I stand. I'm going to continue to try and stay on top of this issue because it's of great concern to me. I feel concerned for my children, young people in our community, the elderly in our community who may be negatively impacted by it. So I thank you for listening, and I just ask that you continue to be vigilant in getting all the information you can about this process and helping to make sure that our community is safe and well cared for in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Earhart. Jeannie Fissinger? Did I say it right?
Yep, you did.
Thanks, Jeannie. Just state your name and whether or not you're a resident.
My name is Jeannie Fissinger, and I've been a resident of Falls Township since 2009. And 25 years before that, I lived over in Forsythia Gate, so I was in Middletown. First, I wanted to let you know that I did, for 15 years, I was senior vice president for a healthcare company, and I did regulatory compliance for health and employment law. And so I know how old all of our regulations are, okay, which also is a concern to me. One of the things that really upsets me is the oversight of all of these regulations being in compliance with state and federal law. Again, state laws that are as much as 50 plus years old, is that the oversight is left to the local authorities. Okay? So at the first public meeting, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I asked the Morrisville Water Authority for their drought contingency plan. Okay? I received a copy of that, and the last time that plan was overhauled was 31 years ago in 1995. Now, back in 1995, the max water usage for this area was 800,000 gallons of water for residents. At the meeting a few weeks ago, the engineer said that we needed 2.5 million gallons of water to meet the needs of our community, and another 4.5 million gallons to meet the needs of this Amazon data center. So then people rightfully got upset and said, wait a minute, all this water comes from the Delaware. Oh no, they said, there's service water and there's potable water. But what I did was I said, well, wait a minute, it still all comes from the Delaware. So if there's a drought, we have a problem, okay? And who's going to get first dibs on that water to cool Amazon's generators or for us to drink? So I'm kind of upset about that, along with the 250 tons of pollutants that they're going to dump into the Delaware. And not only does that's per year. You got to look at the effect of years and years of dumping that sludge into the water. I'm concerned because I think we're far behind the times as far as our regulations goes. And believe me, I know that's hard. I used to have to work with states. I worked in 48 states, and it takes a long time to get these things through. But I would say one of the things you could do is assemble a panel of people that are experts in these areas, even from this community. I'm sure there are people who know what they're talking about, and ask for help. I'd also ask for a 180-day moratorium on construction on this project so that we can basically, excuse the language, get our you-know-what together. Because I didn't know anything. I just retired in March, and I didn't know anything about this. I do realize that the regulations say they have to advertise this in the Pennsylvania Bulletin, which is something that lawyers like myself would read. But I'm not an environmental lawyer, so I don't look at that section of the code. Okay? So we need to really open our eyes, because I think that the wool's being pulled over them. And I think that we ought to also edit the code, because it says it has to be in the PA Bulletin and a newspaper or two. Well, circulation of the newspapers since 1995 has gone down significantly. I used to work for Gannett newspaper, so I know. So anyway, what about adding local TV to something that people need to hear? Because people watch television, and you're seeing more of this as other counties coming out and being upset about this type of stuff. Plymouth Meeting, I think it was, I just saw that on TV. They're having meetings about this because they're putting a data center. I guess there's 6 data centers planned for around our area, and we're going to have one of them. Oh, really? Lucky you. Sorry. So, I mean, again, I realize, sorry, I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I do have something to say about that bike path. I have to use an electric bike, but anyway.
I'm sorry,
that aside.
your time is up.
Okay.
That was 5 minutes.
Okay,
So-
local TV, please consider it. I appreciate your service, and do the right thing.
At item number 11, you're free to come up and talk about the e-bikes again if you want.
Okay.
Okay. Barb Brejak? Brejak. Come on up, Miss Brejak.
Hello. My name is Barb Brejak. I live on Stanford Road. I've been in the township since 1988, so I've been here for quite a while. I was actually here when the waste management came in, and we were getting all the money from waste management, and it was projected that we wouldn't be paying taxes by now. But, you know, that's years gone by now. So it was mismanaged, number one, but that's not your fault. So there's 3 reasons I'm here. First one is to give a shout out to the police department, and specifically Officer Finelli and his traffic detail, because they closed down part of South Old Boulevard. I live on Stanford, which is a thoroughfare to begin with. And I came to the meeting, and voiced my objections because we have a lot of children, autistic children in our neighborhood. I asked about speed bumps. So what they did is they put extra people on patrol, and they painted stop in the street. They're fixing the signs, and I really appreciate that they came out immediately and took care of that. But my first issue is that as a township, we should have temporary speed bumps, even if it goes halfway across the road. We should have them on hand for the safety of the community. I know that they're a nuisance for some people for noise or whatever, but it's a temporary situation and it's going to save lives. I have triplets right next to me. I have 2 autistic girls across the street, an autistic boy around the corner, and other kids down the street. So it's something that we should have on hand as a township, number one. But a shout out to Officer Finelli. They were great. My second issue is on Parkway and Goebel Court. For some reason, all these big 18-wheelers decided to park there on our public streets, which causes a vision problem when you're turning the corners and things. Someone's going to get hurt there. I don't know that they're allowed to park on streets like that because number one, our roads are not made for those kind of vehicles to park there on a 24-hour basis. So I would like that to be looked into. And then my third issue is the data center. I'm late to the game with the data center. So I don't know whether I'm for it or against it. But the one thing that I do think that you should all agree to is we need to put a pause to get more information. Okay? Even the governor of New York put a pause for the whole state for 1 year. Okay? Because I want to find out how we're going to benefit, our community is going to benefit. This is my home, and it has been, and it's going to be. So that's all that I have to say. Thank you for listening, and God bless.
Thank you,
And
Ms.
please
Brejak.
consider taking a pause.
Thank you very much. Wayne Bell?
Amazon is going to use the humanoids. That's what you need to look up, the humanoids. They're going to come up online cheap. So everybody's going to be using humanoids. That's what the data center is going to be used for. Did y'all sign any other NDAs? Oh, okay. You can answer that to me later if you like. I wanted to know why the shade tree and the EAC was combined. If you could let me know that as well. In January, I asked to be on all of the committees. You rejected me. Could you let me know why? I'm not part of NAACP because you have people on those boards. I do have a lot of experience to be somewhat of a community advocate so people could know what's going on. I could have saved you some of the problems that we're having because of some of the questions and answers and so forth that was going on. So could you really consider putting me on all of the boards? How about all of the boards? Let's start with all of the boards and not rejecting me on any of the boards, those subcommittees. That's what everybody needs to be on. If anybody thinks that they can handle a little bit high tech, not low tech information, because some of your members on there are low data, we need to bring up the data, high data. I'm more high data. How many more minutes I have? Oh, wow. Gee. How is Jeffrey Dents? Where is he at? You looking at me, Jeffrey Dents? Where are you at? We miss you, wherever you're at on vacation. And I saw you and Tim Lotecki and Erin Mullen at the Amazon Center, along with the manager. I thought that was very courageous of you. I saw you were all surrounded by all of the policemen. I was very impressed. I was going to touch you, but I realized I couldn't do that. So, yeah. And how are you, Mr. Dell? Why don't you get up here? I'm waiting for you to speak.
Waiting for you to finish.
Oh. Nice to see all of you.
Me too.
And I need to keep up with Michael Clark and Steve Sanacero and the, what is it, files? Harvey files. I guess everybody heard about the Harvey files? No? See, I will keep up with all of this, and I can help everybody keep a little bit more information on it. Right? So let's breathe a little bit more. I got 1 more minute. I'd like to take this time to also, you really need to get involved in chemistry because of the chemical company that's coming around the schools. We'll talk more about that if you put me on to the committees. And then I can express to you a little bit calmer desire about the chemical company that's coming into Falls Township. Not the 2 million square feet that is being bought up by somebody else, but it's not being bought up by this outshitter company we all love, and it rhymes with beauty. Any hints? I won't say it. But my granddaughter's name rhymes with it. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Wait till I tell you next week, next month. I can't wait. My time up?
27 seconds.
Oh, fine. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Jennifer Metzger.
Jen Metzger, Falls Township. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
Summer meeting, right?
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of things tonight. You got a lot on this agenda, right? Okay. So moving ordinances. You're not going to vote on item 11, but are you going to at least discuss the e-bikes so we have an idea of what was covered in executive comment? Kind of have an idea.
We'll just be taking public comment.
Okay. And then item 8, obviously the data center. A lot of people are talking about that. Very important. We don't have standalone moratorium laws in the state of Pennsylvania as a commonwealth, right? We're limited to 1968 to 1970s laws. A lot of the townships right now are using the established tools that we have under Pennsylvania Municipality Planning Code, the MPC. You guys hear us mention that a lot. Townships are formally declaring their current zoning ordinances are substantively invalid. These are regarding modern data centers, triggering the legal 180-day window to research, draft, and adopt the correct zoning amendments while deferring specific applications that are coming up now. So we're not trying to stop the prior data center, obviously, that's done already. Our concern is that the Keystone Trade Center, North Point, that whole area has 1,800 acres down there. So right now, 2 million square feet have been passed, 2 buildings for the data centers. We want to know if you guys are going to do the 180-day moratorium like Ben Salem Township and a bunch of other townships throughout Pennsylvania so that we have time to update our zoning ordinances. We should at least take that time. We hope that you'll at least vote for the community this time on that agenda item instead of voting for Shapiro and the county and everything else. We understand that all of the jobs that were supposed to come for warehouses changed. 95 and 295 corridor was done. The need for warehouses changed. We get it. But now we're down to 125 jobs that are going to be at that location. So we really want you to review the KOIZ that was given, because it was given for 10,000 warehouse jobs, not 125 jobs that are going to be under $80,000. It's under the pendant ordinance doctrines, so you do legally have the right to pass any changes to the property line noise and emission ordinances and to the overall outdated warehouse ordinances that we have. So that's what we're asking you to do. We're not asking you to try to fix the two. We get it. Okay? I also kind of can't complain about it because I work from home, my entire company's from home, and so we use AI all the time. So I get why we need it, but not in our community if we didn't have to. So if we were going to do it here, could we fix some of the infrastructure items? Could we have them pay for their own utilities? Could we make sure that everything is metered, inspected, followed up on? They're the things we're asking for. Newly. So my husband didn't mention it, but I will. Oh my God, what is this laundry center coming here to clean rental clothes from 50 states? We do not need this on Penn Valley Road. It's 1 million square feet. It should be down. If you're going to do it down with the rest of the steel mill center so that they have water treatment plants so that we can go ahead and monitor those in the process of you updating these ordinances. They should not be sitting on Penn Valley Road, literally one stop up from Mill Creek, where you've spent millions of dollars on Martins Creek for the flooding and for the contamination and different problems that we already have within a mile of the facility. You're also separating the mobile home parks down Penn Valley Road from the Manor Elementary School that their kids go to. You're separating people that are disabled and lower income, potentially. Our mobile homes are pretty expensive, apparently, and the lot rent. But you're separating them from the hospitals if anything goes wrong on Penn Valley Road. So it's one way in, one way out. It's a really bad idea. The reason I'm mentioning it is it's being fast-tracked. Just like the data centers were fast-tracked, we're trying to get ahead of it now. It's going to be at the Planning Commission tomorrow at 7 p.m. So we're starting to go through all the subcommittees. We've already talked about it at the EAC and the Shade Tree Commission in June. So it only got covered by the Shade Tree Commission, which didn't exist under the EAC. Anyway, it's a big thing. Children are at risk, grandkids are at risk. The rest of us already have cancer and are dying, so what difference does it make now, right? Asking everybody in the community to just really watch, because every time you guys put something on the agenda, we appreciate that you at least list it now, but the 3 sentences don't say anything. Thanks.
Tony Batiste.
Good evening, Tony Batiste, Falls Township, resident since 1978. In researching the data center, I did run into like a whole pile of questions, and right now just about four of them will do. One more is, how hard is it when we've spent millions of dollars on this building to have one clock in here so we can actually see how much time we have? Is that hard? Thank you. Number one, are the supervisors still under the NDA that was signed? If you are, that's not a good thing, because then I think you're violating sunshine laws by holding discussions with other parties to the NDAs that have not been shared with the residents in a public forum. It has resulted in a proposed warehouse that was supposed to be employing hundreds of people to a data center with a without a fully vetted environmental study. Now it has 14 buildings according to their information at the information meeting that we had. 14, not one warehouse, 14. And now it's a data campus. I don't believe either of those items, the data center or the data campus, had separate applications. I think they all fell under the warehouse one. But of course, we don't know that because it's not public information, and it was never discussed at the meetings. So that's a problem. And then at some point, again, they now have 14, not 10, which I believe you guys authorized, but 14. How are they getting 14 buildings out there when you only have to authorize 10? So is there more that we don't know? So I asked again, if the NDA is still active and valid, you are keeping us from the transparency that should be here in these meetings and truthful information. Number 2, what is Falls Township's and its residents getting out of this data center in terms of benefits? Yeah, I understand everything that we're going to get in terms of not benefits, like lousy water, if we have any water, lousy air, and all the other myriad things. But what are we getting that's an actual benefit to the township? I've never seen anything in writing that says what we are actually getting. Guess nothing. Okay. So the center is built on a brownfield. This is the third thing. Supposedly North Point was going to remediate that. Did that happen? And who inspected it? Again, no answers. Part of the brownfield was supposed to remain covered because of the severity of the toxins that had occurred from the steel mill and whatever else was out there. So now I want to know, has that occurred? Was it kept covered? Or has the cover been disturbed? And now that we're exposed to the toxins through the air and the water, and very possibly through the groundwater if it's seeping through the ground because the ground was disturbed. Again, who was supposed to check on this? Did they? And were any reports done? Dead silence. Note that, dead silence. We're all going to be dead too. But, and this one is personal information, I guess. Did you at any time take any remuneration from North Point and or Amazon during the last 5 years?
Ms. Batiste, can you repeat that?
Did you at any time take any remuneration, any benefits, any money, any stock, any financial gain from North Point and or Amazon during the last 5 years? That's all.
Thank you. Okay. Moving to the non-resident list, is there a Dylan? Yes, come on up.
Hi, my name is Sarah Kirk, and I live in Falls Township. I have a direct question to anybody here who can answer it. So the PADEP is currently proposing a 500-hour annual limit on the operation of diesel and gas generators. Right now, there is that open EPA permit asking to add 208 generators down there on top of the already existing 75+ generators down there. So they explained to us at the town hall that they have to stay under a threshold of air pollutants every year to only be a minor polluter. And we have to trust Amazon's going to self-report that. But my concern is they're doing this math they figured out for that minor polluter with that under 500 hours per year. But just recently, the federal government made all data centers go onto their emergency generator power, and the latest one was a week, so that ended up being 168 hours. There was another one before that that went for days. So what we're looking at is well over 500 hours is going to be ran on those generators if we continue to have global warming the way we are, which it looks like we are. How are you guys going to make sure that Amazon stays a minor polluter? Because that entire infrastructure down there is already a major polluter, and they have this factored in that it's going to be safe for the community to breathe this air with it at this minor polluter status. They're at 24.9 whatever into the air, and 25 is considered a major polluter. So how are we going to make sure that our kids are breathing safe enough air?
Ms. Mullen, if I could just respond briefly. Just
Mr. Shepherd, if we could do it at the end.
I could do that.
Thank you.
Am I good? Okay. All right. And I just want to express how frustrating it is to be a Falls Township resident right now. We are being treated like second-class citizens to the corporations, especially Amazon. You guys signed an NDA, and we're just supposed to allow this huge data center. It's now 11 buildings. It's over 3 million square foot. And we're just supposed to accept it because you guys made a decision without consulting anybody in your community, and that's really disgusting. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dylan?
I'm a resident, I decided into the sheet.
Okay, but last
Are you a
one.
resident
Of Fall Township now.
I am.
Mr. Dell, you can come up. That's probably gonna, that might take us till the end.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
It's okay if I go up?
No.
Can,
It's not okay?
No, you have to say your name and where you're from.
Okay.
go ahead, Mr. Dell.
Andrew Dell, Falls Township, resident for almost 60 years. I've worked down at this, well, it was, everybody knows it's Keystone Industrial Park, but I've worked down there since it was U.S. Steel, USS Real Estate, and now it's North Point. So everyone is complaining and about this water usage. As we've been sitting here, I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but how many gallons of water do you think have run past the steel mill facility and heading towards the bay and going to the ocean as we speak? Can we venture a guess at how many millions of gallons just since we've been sitting here? Okay, that water's gone on its way in the Atlantic. Okay, hopefully it rains again. I'm sure it will, in case global warming kills us all by tomorrow, which I don't believe in global warming to begin with. But nonetheless, these diesel generators, quiet liberals, these diesel generators are there in case they lose power. If they lose power for a week, if they lose power for 10 days, they're going to run as long as they need to run. They are compliant with today's diesel engines, which anyone who has a diesel engine knows the amount of pollution control units on these new engines. They're brutal. They add almost $5,000 or $6,000 to the cost of just a truck engine, and they're a particulate filter, and they run very clean compared to an old diesel generator. Now, as far as locations goes, there couldn't be a better location to place this data center. I notice everyone here has a computer, a cell phone, and everything else, but they don't want to have the data to store this information. What miracle are we going to pull off? Where would you put this data center? Would you put it at the Kmart warehouse? Would you put it at Strict Trailer? Nobody is going to hear these generators. There's not a house within a mile and a half of this building. Okay? I don't know how they claim they're going to be dumping, what they say, 250 tons of sludge in a river. Where are these numbers coming from? From my understanding, this is a closed loop system.
Just continue to address the board, please.
This, from my understanding, from everything I've heard, is a closed loop system, almost like a car radiator, where this stuff is cooled, recycled, cools the equipment, and continuously recycled. At some point, it gets changed out. I don't know all the details, but the fact of the matter is, when's the last time you saw the Delaware River dry and everybody here crawling there to get their last drink of water before they perish? I mean, this is just a joke. This is the only place in this whole county that would fit their build. And they don't have 11 buildings. I don't know where the 11 buildings are coming from.
Can you, everyone was allowed to speak without being interrupted. Please afford Mr. Dell the same courtesy.
Again, I've worked down there. I see the buildings going up. You want to put a stay on these people? Why don't you talk to the 2,000 construction workers that are down there, okay? That are from almost every state, coming up here and staying up here, working up here. You can't just shut down a project of this size for any amount of time. The amount of money that would be lost is unbelievable, okay? And everyone here is crying that their electric bill is going to go up, but they didn't cry when the school district put up a $300 million school that raised their taxes far more than the electric bill. Could you guys be quiet while I'm talking, please? Okay, so I'm the only one here that's going to be pro data center, but the fact of the matter is this is something we need. We can't do without. Okay, so if you where they want to put it is beyond me, where the next best place would be in this area to put a data center. That place fits the bill perfectly. They have access to water, cooling, there's rail into there, there's roadways. It's a perfect place for heavy industrial, and that's what that place is zoned for. Okay, so thank you for your time. I got to see that I'm probably running out of time here.
Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Bell.
much.
So, yes. So I just want to check with the board. I think there's only 2 other people on the list, and then this other resident. Are we okay to go over? Are you okay?
3?
Yeah, 3 more. Okay, so, yeah, come on, you first. And just state your name and that you're a Falls resident.
Good evening, my name's Alexandra Teoxin. I'm a Falls Township resident. I've lived in Falls Township for 15 years. I'm also a registered nurse with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Gwinnett Mercy University. I'm also a Federal Nurse Corps scholar. Like many residents, I've been following the construction of the Amazon data center with great interest. Regardless of whether someone supports or opposes the project, I think we can all agree that the people of Falls Township deserve honest, transparent communication from the officials they elected. As construction continues, residents continue to have important questions about water use from the Delaware River, emergency backup generators, potential air emissions, noise, electrical infrastructure, emergency planning, and long-term impacts on our community. Many residents have expressed concern that confidentiality agreements may be limiting what our elected officials are able to discuss publicly. I don't know the exact terms of those agreements, but if they're preventing open communication, I respectfully ask the board to consider requesting that Amazon voluntarily release the township and its elected officials from any confidentiality provisions that are no longer necessary. The negotiation phase of this project has passed. We're now in the construction phase where the public trust depends on transparency. I also respectfully ask the board to consider adopting a transparency resolution requesting that Amazon allow township officials to answer residents' questions as fully as possible and encouraging the public release of non-proprietary information relating to environmental impacts, water use, backup power systems, and emergency operations. Transparency benefits everyone. It helps residents make informed decisions, reduce misinformation, and strengthens confidence in local government. Thank you for your time and service to Falls Township. I also drafted a proposed resolution that I would hope you would consider just reviewing to see if this version or some version of this may be appropriate to give to Amazon. It's a proposed resolution of the Falls Township Board of Supervisors, resolution supporting transparency and public communication regarding the Amazon data center project, and I have copies if you would accept them.
We'll accept them. Thanks, Ally.
Thank you.
Okay, Dylan, are you Dylan? Okay, Dylan, and then Nicole. Is Nicole still here?
Right here.
Okay. Okay, fine. It's just going to be Dylan then. Sorry.
I'm sorry, there's non-residents as well, not non-residents.
Yeah, I know, but you're not on the list, and we're already over.
Falls residents, I didn't see the non-resident one.
That's okay. Can you come back? Okay. Go ahead. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am the Bucks County Spider-Man. That's
No,
what I'd
we
like to
need a
go by.
name for the
Please
record.
state your name for the record and what.
Dylan Caracappa, Bristol Township resident.
Thank you.
But here, I'd also like to address 2 things from one of the others speaking. It is public information that the data center is going to be 11 warehouses. That is on Amazon's website and any press reporting on it. And there is also a very big distinction between an AI data center and a normal data center. Because yes, anyone who uses a phone or computer does use data centers, but an AI data center is specifically for artificial intelligence computation power. And like in this one, they specifically have contracts with the government where they're going to be utilizing it for surveillance using flock cameras, Axon cameras, ICE operations, FBI. That's the part I'm concerned about. But I also have concerns here about some of the math posted on the air quality permit that was made public. And they use an equation here that I'm not sure, I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. they have the calculation used to measure tons of emissions from the data center because of the generators powering it is going to be the amount of emissions pounds per gallon of fuel used times the amount of gallons used per year, and then translate that to tons. What I found, and just for compare, what they promised is that they were going to keep the nitrous oxides, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic components under 25 tons, which I believe someone else has mentioned before. My math does not show that, because when I calculate them, the sum of the 2,750 kilowatt diesel generators and the 1,600 kilowatt generator and the 400 and 250 kilowatt generator, if all are controlled generators, which means that they have the previously mentioned filters in the engines that keep the emissions as low as possible, that is still going to be, in the absolute best case scenario, with all the generators 500 hours per year, it would be about 18 tons, which would fall under it. But most of the generators don't have them, and it would be very expensive too. But yeah, some of the models of the generators don't even have the option to have controlled emissions. So what's probably closer to the number is half of the 36 of the 72 major diesel generators are going to be running all the time, which means it's going to be closer to 125 tons per year, just diesel. I calculated 280 natural gas ones as well, and I got a ridiculously high number. It's like 40,000, but I must have messed up the algebra at some point, because that is ridiculously high and apocalyptic, if that is true. And my numbers for like gallon usage is based off of just general info for the power usage of these generators. So that is something that I'm very concerned about, and I feel like since there was no official environmental study done, definitely something that should halt a hiatus and a review for the generator application. That is all.
Thank you. Okay. That's going to be the end of public comment. Just a couple things that I want to address. So I know that it can be frustrating when you're up here and you want to ask us questions and we don't respond, but getting into a back and forth actually infringes your right to speak. If we take part of your 5 minutes up, that's not you getting your right to free speech. So that's why we're quiet. A couple things that were asked, commented on. I'm not going to be able to get to all of it, but a few things that just seem to be repeated that I want to clear up. One of them is the NDA. The NDA is not in effect anymore. The NDA that the Board of Supervisors had to sign had to do solely with the end user being Amazon. It had nothing to do with, we weren't barred from saying that it was a data center. At that point, it had been reported to be a data center. The NDA that we signed, I don't know the exact time frame, but after we signed the NDA that just said we just couldn't say that it was Amazon, it was publicly reported to be Amazon something like 2 weeks later. So that was the only thing that we signed, and if you file a right to know request with the township, you can get a copy of the NDA. It's a public record. So the other thing is, I know that people have an issue with the transparency, and I think that you have a good point, and I think that the advertisement methods that we, not just us, but all municipalities, need to find better avenues to reach you. That being said, with the data center, we did nothing different than we do with any other land development project. This data center, there was a noise variance that for the data center that went in front of our zoning and hearing board for in August of 2024, saying it was a data center. It was approved in August of 2025 by the Board of Supervisors. And there was a handful of people here, like we did, it was advertised. I understand that after that, the national temperature and the global temperature of data centers really increased. And it's like a big word of mouth and a social media thing. And that's how I know a lot of residents have told me that they found out about it because, you know, their neighbor told them or somebody was up in arms about it. And I think that's great. Like, I love that you're all here. I just want to separate it from, like, we didn't hide anything. We just did it the normal course of business as we do anything. And if we had known that this would get like this, of course we would have done more and had town halls. But it's very hard for us to predict what the public is going to care about. And if you go back to March of 2025, it wasn't like this. So I just want to explain that. Somebody asked about the remediation of the brownfields at the Keystone Data Center. I think North Point, Jeremy Michael from North Point did a presentation at the DEP meeting, and I think he said it was separated into like 11 sections. 9 of the 11 have completed remediation, and that there were 2 outstanding that are still being done. We can check that, and also Mr. Shepherd, I think it might be a good idea if we can get a hold of all those presenters from that meeting to maybe get us their PowerPoints. Because some of the operational things, we're not just going to be able to quote for you off of the top of our heads. Did we take any, did we personally get any benefits from Amazon, the Board of Supervisors? No. And to the last commenter, we don't have anything to do with the air quality permit. Any comments or errors found in their math should be directed to the DEP. So I also, Mr. Shepherd, I cut you off from a point that you wanted to make earlier. If you can go ahead and make that now.
No, thank you. I just wanted to really follow up on what you were saying concerning certain aspects of the project which are frustrating to people because there's, you know, it's the United States, there's different levels of government. The supervisors regulate what they can through zoning. It's land use. They have land use authority. The air quality permits are through DEP. The interplay between federal and state law when it comes to how air quality regulations go are beyond anybody on the board's ability to regulate that or to address it. So those questions are good. They need to be addressed with DEP, who also, you know, answers to everybody in the state of Pennsylvania concerning, you know, their regulations. And I'm sure they'd be happy to answer those questions for you if you present them to them. So keep that in mind. That's important. And also when it comes to air quality, we can't regulate that. I mentioned that. But also the water withdrawals from the Delaware River. The supervisors can't regulate that. There's no authority to do that. That's an interstate pact with also the federal government as part of that. So all those withdrawals from the river are regulated by that organization. It's not the supervisors. They would have no ability, even if they wanted to, they'd have no ability to regulate that. It's just not possible. So as much as you get frustrated with that, we say, well, you know, that's someone else that regulates that. I understand that, but certain things we can't do. The things that we can do, I'm sure they're interested in doing and looking at, but the things we can't do, we just can't do them, even though it might be upsetting to you that we can't do them.
Okay. We are going to be moving on with the business of the meeting tonight. However, we are going to have to take a 5-minute recess. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting back to order. If you want to keep talking, if you want to just take it outside so that we can get on with the business of the meeting. I have one correction to be made that I just
Excuse me, the meeting is back in order. Could you please cease all conversations? Excuse me in the back of the room. The meeting is back in session. Thank you.
Thank you. So I was just corrected out in the hallway. It's not correct for me to say that the NDA is not in effect. It is still in effect, but you're free to see it and look at it and see that it said exactly what I said it said. Okay, so we are going to move on to item number 3, consideration of approval of certificate of appropriateness for 101 Main Street, Falsington. Install roof over existing porch and rear entrance, and install outdoor fireplace.
Yeah, I like it.
So, Mr. Dell, this is your property?
Yes.
Okay, so we have an approval from the Harbor Board to
Yeah, this
sorry,
one's
I'm just
recommended for board approval.
Yep.
Unanimous, no issues from the board's perspective.
Yes. Okay, are there any questions from the board?
None.
Is there any public comment? Okay, no public comment. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Approve item 3.
Motion and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Good luck, Mr. Dow.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Moving on to item 4 is consideration of approval for certificate of appropriateness, 119 Yardley Avenue, Falsington. The resident is here also. This is for replacing a vinyl fence with a wooden fence. Thank you, residents of Falsington who go through this process. This also has an approval from the Harbor Board. Are there any questions from the board?
No.
No question.
Any public comment? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor? Aye. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Number 5, consideration of approval of petition. Oh, sorry. Is that still going?
So I can take that, Ms. Mullen. The applicant has requested that this be continued from this evening's agenda. So item number 6 will be tabled, but for item number 5, we did take a look at this. It requires an ordinance in order to be able to consider this petition. So we recommend that the agenda be amended so that it is authorization to advertise an ordinance vacating the road in question, Highland Avenue.
Okay, we don't have any documents on this, though. It says they'll be sent over on Monday.
Yeah, there's really nothing to this. It's a paper street, right? Even though we're vacating a right-of-way, it's a paper street. It's just within the confines of the property. So as part of the development application, when it was reviewed by the Planning Commission, it was reviewed in the manner that the right-of-way did not exist, because if it existed, it would impact the development footprint of the property. So this is a paper street, even though we're vacating it. You would never know because there's physically nothing on the ground. There's no asphalt. There's no improvements.
Okay.
Correct, and part of the land development plans do include a road vacation plan, so Mr. Jones will be able to comment on that next month.
Okay.
For right now, all we're looking for is that authorization to advertise.
I understand. Is there any questions from the board members?
None.
No question.
Any public comment? Come on, Tony. Ms. Batiste, I'm sorry. Let's keep this formal.
And Ms. Mullen, while Ms. Batiste is making her way to the podium, the first motion is going to be a motion to amend the agenda as I suggested, and then you can vote on the actual authorization.
Understood.
This was brought before us before, and the subject of that street, that's a paper street, I thought was supposed to be divided halfway, between half of it going to the business at 654 and half of it going to the residents whose property back up to it. So what's this trying to do?
So again, this is just authorization to advertise for an ordinance consideration. If the ordinance is approved, it would vacate the street to the abutting property owners.
To both the business and the residents?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure the residents are.
And we could advertise and still in a month decide not to do that,
That's
not to
correct.
adopt. Okay.
That's correct.
So first, so Ms.
gonna-
Gallagher, sorry, why do we have to amend the agenda?
Because the agenda has consideration of the petition itself, but we need to
I
advertise the
understand.
ordinance.
Okay, so first, I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Any further public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so now I'll entertain a motion to advertise to vacate Highland Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 6 has been pulled. Item number 7 is consideration of approval of traffic calming measures on Thorn Ridge Drive. Are we starting with Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Shepherd?
Yeah, I think that he is here, Derek Kennedy is here tonight, our traffic engineer. As the board recalls at our last meeting, we talked about some various options for traffic calming on a section of Thorn Ridge, and Derek was charged with looking at a few additional suggestions that were made that night, so he did provide a report on that. The board does have a copy of those additional things he looked at. He could probably give you a brief overview of that. And ultimately, I think that he's provided some recommendations on what he believes are the proper traffic calming measures at this point, and I think the board should entertain considering those.
Thank you. Mr.
Derek?
Kennedy, thanks for coming.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So after the last meeting, there was a few questions. We went back out there. We collected some additional data, particularly speed data. We confirmed some of our measurements. We looked at some of the intersections in the field. And one of the questions was potential always stop control, right? And which intersections or intersection would be most suitable. Previously, we recommended T-Berry Lane as an always stop control, and the primary reason was there's warrants that have to be triggered for when and where we can use always stop. And at that location, we have poor sight distance. So that was the factor that warranted the signal at that location. We checked 2 other locations, Twin Leaf Lane and Thin Bark Lane. They did not meet the warrants, so essentially the recommendation hasn't changed. It's still always stop at T-Berry Lane. So that was the always stop condition we looked at. We also looked at on-street parking restrictions. There is a demand out there on both sides of the street. We're not making any recommendations to significantly reduce or eliminate parking as part of the plan. Pavement markings, there was questions about possibly using center line striping or reflectors out there or edge lines. And we measured in several locations along the roadway. It's about 34 to 35 feet wide. Typically, we need 37 feet if we were going to delineate lanes. So we just don't have enough room to do that, so we can't make any lane marking recommendations on the roadway. So that's not in the report. Before there was some discussion about speed humps. We still have them in there as an optional recommendation if opinions change. We did the work. We identified 2 locations where they at least meet the criteria, so that's still in there as an optional recommendation. We're recommending the continued use of the speed feedback signs. There's one out there now. We're recommending another one in the northbound direction along the corridor. And then for the curb extensions with the raised delineators, there's 2 intersections that we're recommending to use those. So there's areas where no change to the physical curb line, it's just striping and reflectors or raised delineators that pull that curb line out in a sense, narrowing the roadway a little bit. Data research shows that those pinch points tend to slow people down as they're approaching. They see the road narrowing, and we typically get slower speeds through those areas. So we're recommending 2 of those along the corridor. And that's pretty much the recommendations. Right, total it's about a quarter-mile section of roadway with a handful of different treatments. So we think that should be effective to help lower speeds. And then I will point out we did collect additional data. We had 2 radar speed units out there for a full week, counting 24/7. Got over 7,000 data readings. The vast majority of people were going 25 miles an hour or less. We had one vehicle recorded out of 7,700 some going over 50 miles per hour. The second highest was around 35 miles per hour. So large majority of speeding is compliant within what you would expect to see on a residential street. I know there's a issue about enforcement that's hard to enforce when you have that few numbers of speeding, right? It's just almost non-existent, right, from an enforcement standpoint to be able to monitor and catch that type of activity. So it's rare, but it does happen.
Okay, well, thank you. This is very inclusive of the comments that we had since last month, so thank you very much for that. So we're talking about install multi-way stop control at intersections Warm Ridge and T-Berry, curb extensions and bump outs at Twin Leaf and Thin Bark,
Yes.
with delineation with raised reflective delineators at those two locations. And then we're going to continue to use the speed feedback sign, and you said there's going to be another one. Right now it's just doing southbound. We're going to add northbound.
Right, that would be my recommendation, right?
Okay. All right.
And I will say, the plans and the concept, it's conceptual. Right?
Yes.
So, I would view that as optional in a sense. I mean, it's not like there's no reconstruction of curb lines or repaving.
Right.
These are fairly low cost to implement type improvements.
Got it. Are there any questions from board members?
No.
Okay. Public comment, please.
Hello, my name is Nicole Paschke. I live on Thornridge Drive. I am so frustrated with this process. I came a year ago, and you're offering me two things that do nothing for the front of my house. I don't know how the other stop sign at, it's not Thin Bark. The T-Berry one, but the other one we had talked about. Thin Bark. I don't know how Thin Bark does not meet the criteria. There is no way it doesn't meet the criteria. My question to all of you is, anybody besides Mr. Shepherd have driven Thornridge Drive, Upper Thornridge Drive?
I've driven Thornridge Drive.
Did you wait there for like 10 minutes to see any activity, 30 minutes, an hour, anything? Or you just took the drive?
I took the drive so that I could know what I was talking about, kind of. Yes.
So from your recollection, could you see coming down from Thin Bark?
I can't say that I recorded my view at that time.
So do you all have the map in front of you then?
Yeah.
The humps, the curves from T-Berry to Thin Bark are identical. At the traffic board meeting, they had talked about having our neighbor cut his hedges back because the only reason that it met criteria was because the hedges were too long. Well, the neighbor on Thin Bark has a white, huge fence that blocks the distance view. So how does that not meet criteria? Could you explain that?
It's a fair, I mean.
How does it not? You cannot see around a curb. You can't. There's no mirror there where you can look around. There's nothing. And people are catching speed. The speed has reduced, I will say, because of that speed limit sign that flashes that you're going 35, he said 55 miles an hour. That would have hit my 7-year-old daughter. 55 miles an hour, and impaired he was. So I see what you're saying about the speed. Oh yeah, oh the average, but it's the outliers that kill people. These people are going to Falls Park to ride their e-bikes because they probably don't feel safe on Thornridge Drive. It is disgusting. I see it right out in front of my window every single day doing dishes. Every single day. Not every single car, but a lot. And sometimes that speed radar was not even working. I work night shift, I come home, it's not working. So I don't want to hear that the data, I don't care. See for yourself. The stop signs, I would like to know how it did not meet criteria. And why can't we stripe on a larger portion of the road? Is that whole road 35, 36? You said you need 37. Is the whole road? Why weren't we notified when he was coming out so we could collaboratively talk about this? Where's that? I'm mad. I'm livid. Month after month. Oh, contingent. Oh, month after month. Oh, give us more time. Give us more time. We get a notification from Mr. Shepherd about the report that was done, asking how we would like to see it. You know where I live. You have my phone number. Mail it. If we didn't answer, mail it. We've been dealing with this for 14, 15, 16 years. And now my kids are involved. So now my claws are out. So I want answers. Finelli gave us these recommendations the day he came out, like a month after the accident. There's nothing else? Let's use the data center, the AI. Like, can we even think for ourselves anymore? I don't understand. There's nothing else that can be done. And then there's people at the traffic board meeting, like I would love to know how you guys collaborate or do anything together, because they say one thing, you guys say another, and none of it comes together. We were told by you, Mr. Shepherd, not to go to the traffic board meetings anymore because you were handling it. You can go if you want, but it's not necessary. The time we don't go, we're on the agenda, and we missed all the recommendations, had no voice in the game, because we were told we didn't have to go. We had the big dog. So here we are a year later, and I get reflectors and a stop sign that's going to probably make it worse for where I live. Because people, as data shows, fly after a stop sign. So what? Like, where is it? Why doesn't it meet criteria?
If that, I will have him come up, but I want to make sure, finish your public comment, and then he can respond to the point by point. I don't want him to come up and have it back and forth.
I understand.
Yeah.
Do you see my frustration now?
Of course.
Like, an entire year for what? Delineators? People down the street knew the plan about the speed humps, where they were going to be put, because they're in contact with the fire department, whatever. So they're getting backhanded information, and we're the ones who've been fighting for this for so long. So the people who have a voice in the game really don't matter. You can come and talk.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kennedy, this report, the report that we saw before, I think, had the chart about the criteria that that other intersection did not meet for a stop sign. Can you just remind us what that was and who makes that determination?
Yeah, so there's a couple levels. There's what we call the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It's a federal document that's put out by Federal Highway Administration. Every state is required to adhere to that document. PennDOT adopts it. And for multi-way stops, the manual clearly notes that stop signs are not to be used for speed control. That's a condition of an all-way stop. Now, there's warrants of when they are applicable. It's based on volume, crash history, or intersection geometry or sight distance we look at. So none of the locations along Thorn Ridge Drive meet the warrants for volume. There's just not high enough. It's not high enough to meet the warrants. The crash data was relatively low. We had 4 crashes over 5 years on the whole corridor itself. You need at least 4 or more crashes per year happening at an intersection to warrant an all-way stop. So we looked at sight distance as the other factor. At T-Berry, we're recommending the all-way stop. We measured sight distance. This is looking from the side street, pulling out. The sight distance there was less than 100 feet. The state requirement at 25 miles per hour for what they call safe stopping sight distance is 157 feet. So when there we meet the warrant, so based on sight distance, we're recommending always stop at T-Berry. The other 2 intersections we looked at, Twin Leaf Drive, looking right, same perspective. The measured sight distance was 248 feet. and at Thin Bark, it was 179 feet.
Hmm.
So, based on what we've measured, they don't meet the warrants.
Right. Okay.
I don't see.
The- I'm sorry?
How did they get, you stop the only other stop sign on the driveway?
I'm
What's the measurement?
I'm going to repeat the question. She wants to know how they got it. There's another stop sign there. At T Rose. How did they qualify for that stop sign? Was that part of something you looked into?
Yeah,
or no?
that's not, I'm not familiar with that.
Got it. Okay. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Kennedy, and thank you guys for coming. This is, it's unfortunate that we can't just go put this stuff wherever we want. It is very frustrating, I understand. I do think that this is a little more than reflectors. I think these bump outs could be effective, and I think that the stop sign is a start. If it's the only thing that we're legally allowed to do, then I think we need to do it, and then I think we can reevaluate it. I mean, I know it will be to the pleasure of the board majority tonight as a whole, but these are traffic engineers. These are the ways that we have to calm traffic. So I think that they are worth a try. So I'm going to be supporting the recommendations of the report, including the multi-way stop, the curb extensions, bump outs at both intersections, and the continued speed feedback. Is there any other public comment? Yes, Ms. Metzger, you can come up.
Shen Metzger, Falls Township. Thank you for clarifying, because I wasn't sure what you guys were voting on specifically. I appreciate that you going through and looking at everything that the Township Subcommittee for Traffic put together, and Shepherd and the engineers. Everybody spent a ton of time on this, so I'm glad that there'll be some relief there. My question would then be, when would it be reevaluated? When is it that we would be able to kind of follow up, and would that be the engineers that would look at it again and go, hey, yes, these things are working, or no, they're not? Is that a 3-month process, a 6-month process?
I don't know. I don't know.
And what level?
I don't know what the answer. I don't know what the adequate time frame is to collect certain data.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the things we know we can't do, right, even though they were recommended or they were at least looked at, we know we have limitations on them. I think we can look at traffic. We would probably look at speed data, right? The speed data is probably the most beneficial thing for this situation, so we would probably look at that. It could be 3 months from now. It could be 6 months from now. We could have the engineer do that. They did a 1-week analysis. We could do the same thing. Once we get to stop, because we're going to do two things, right? We're going to put stop sign up, and we're going to put up the intersection improvements with I call them candlesticks, right? To narrow the intersection. So they need to be up before we do that. So it's just a matter of time. The board has to vote on the ordinance for the stop sign. Once that's done, then we can physically install it.
Okay, and then when you say speed, is that something where the traffic committee will get another speed sign that they can actually use? Because they were the $6,000 signs that we applied for the grant last year as a community for. So how would that be tested? Because as far as I understand, we're within the 37 miles an hour for the speed problems on a 25-mile-an-hour road. And one of the questions that we asked to the engineers was, how do we get the 25 miles an hour dropped to 15? Because 25 is really not appropriate for that many winds and bends anymore, not given with our vehicles and our ability for speed and everything like that.
So, I mean, we'll have another one going northbound, but I don't.
I think that the minimum speed on residential streets in Pennsylvania is 25 miles per hour.
Yeah. It's just a little too much on that particular bend because
understand.
it's so blind.
Do an advisory, but it's 25. It's state statute.
Okay.
I think state roads is 35.
So there's no exceptions on any roads that have a little bit more of a problem? Because the problem, I don't know if you've had a chance to drive it.
I have.
We actually did it at night just to check it because our homes have been Elderberry and, Main Street across from the high school. So when we drove Thornridge, all the lights are on one side of the street, and it may not be enough for the center reflectors that we all suggested because the street is so wide, but there's no light on the this family's side of the street. And so it's actually extremely dark for some of those curves at night. And it's only been a blessing that no one's had an accident at that time of day. So anyway, that's the thing. So
All right.
could we get another traffic sign in the township? Because I think it would be really helpful speed-wise. But for this particular one, when would those evaluations be and at what level?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Ms. Marino.
Hi, my name is Margaret Marino. I'm a Falls Township resident. So Derek, you had said that another radar is going to go up. Is that what I understood?
Yeah.
Did
Sorry,
we
go
say
ahead.
that we're going to have two? We have one now. I think you said northbound.
That's what I understood it to mean. Yeah, that's what, yes.
So it will be one going northbound and one going southbound?
Yeah, we're going to continue the use of speed feedback signs with signs installed in both the northbound and southbound directions.
The radar signs?
Are those, are speed feedback signs synonymous with radar signs? Yes.
Okay, so where is that going to be put? Because there's no poles on that side of the street.
We will
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll
we
take
will
a look
figure
at
out
it.
where to put
We
them.
might have to put a pole in to mount it on. If we do, we'll do that with Public
Yeah.
Works.
Okay, so these two are going to be permanent.
The, Mr. Kennedy, are these permanent recommendations? No, correct?
Because the one that's up there now really doesn't affect us. The stop sign that's going up there is not going to affect us.
Okay,
Our issue is coming from Penn Valley Road.
right.
The cars coming down that way. So that's why I want to know if there's going to be a radar sign on our side of the street, up a little, after the thin bark, which doesn't pass the stop sign test, which you guys should take a ride there and come up thin
I
bark
know, okay.
and see if you can turn left without, I don't know if you were there, Derek, when there were cars parked on that side. Because if there's a car parked there, you have to inch out and inch out and inch out. But, you know, he's the expert. I'm really, really not
I
wowed
know.
by anything that he came up with. I don't know how much money the township has spent on him or that company, but, Officer Finelli did more over and above of what he has recommended for us.
Right, but our Officer Finelli also can't.
I know he can't.
Yes.
He has to go through the process.
Right.
But I'm saying,
But I want you to. It's not Mr. Kennedy's fault. Like Mr. Kennedy has to do all these things to see what we could do. It's a lot of explorations, and sometimes it's like, shoot, we can't do that.
Okay, well-
But this is what it takes to figure out what we can do.
so
And it's been a
two
lot of
things
work.
is what we can do after a year.
And we've spent a lot of money trying to do more. Yes.
Okay, so please repeat to me what you're doing.
Install multi-way stop control at intersection of Thornridge Drive and T-Berry. That's the
That's
stop sign.
nothing for us. Go ahead.
Install curb extensions, bump outs at the two intersections identified in Exhibits 12 and 13. That's Twin Leaf and that's Thin Bark.
Okay,
Right, Twin Leaf, Thin Bark.
that's two.
Utilize reflectorized tubular raised delineators as an initial treatment. Consideration for raised curb bump out can be made in the future. So if this temporary one works out, then we could make it a permanent situation.
And that's it.
Continued use of speed feedback signs along the corridor with signs installed in both the northbound and southbound directions.
Okay, so
And
when
the
do you
township
think
could
that
be
would-
open to making these things permanent to the extent that any of them are temporary.
So when would this start, this project?
We would have to go out with bids.
Well, it has to be approved by the board.
Yeah.
So the stop sign will take a little bit of time because it's an ordinance. If the board approves the other improvements, we'll review those with Derek and he'll help us lay them out. It's not something our Public Works Department normally does. The signs won't be an issue, but when it comes to making the curb extensions and the markings with the delineators. He'll probably help us lay it out. If not, we'll get Joe Jones to help us with that, and Public Works more likely than not can do it. If they can't, we'll have to look at a contractor. But if Public Works can do the work, we'll have them do it.
And we're talking a matter of months,
Yes.
a matter of months.
Okay, and you're going to, once it's installed, you're giving us, is it 3 months or 6 months? Because I heard two different things about to review it again.
We're going to see how it goes. I mean, we're going to check in with it, like, as soon as we can.
And the speed bumps are off the table.
They're not off the table. We've had some negative feedback about them, and so we want to try these things. But no, nothing is off the table.
Okay.
So
what
if
are you voting on tonight? The ones that we just went over?
Correct.
Thank you.
Nothing is off the table. If we, in our reevaluation, we decide that speed bumps would be beneficial, then we can explore that further too. Yeah, please, come on.
Is there any other signage through PennDOT that we can do, like a recommended 15? There is a curb coming, like those arrows, these things that we may see, but it does give a heads up for people who are not used to driving on this particular kind of road. Amazon truck drivers, school buses are flying through. Just that, hey, this road is either getting narrower, there's a lot of cars parking, there's going to be a curve, an S-curve, something else for people to be alerted before they get to that spot where they are slamming on their brakes, swerving, and nearly hitting our parked cars in the street.
So I think we could continue to look into that. I don't know for sure. We can find out and we can ask, but I don't want to keep it from us making some action tonight for this.
Yes, I agree. Just
so,
like as another piece of something we could implement.
So we can look into more signage.
Well, some of those signs she's just mentioning, they're advisories. So,
Yes.
So the supervisors don't have to take action on those. If we believe an advisory would assist with 15 mile per hour on a curve, whether it's like an S-bend sign in advance of the course, we can do that with Derek's recommendation, and we can install those. Okay. We can let you know we're doing that.
Yes.
But I assume if it's an advisory and it's warranted, I assume the board would be in favor of that.
Okay. What's the dialogue situation with, are we communicating with you via email, phone? Have you communicated with the township?
No, it's just been through my mom.
Okay. Why don't we set up a open line of you can email the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
So that we can stay on top of this together, and
Okay.
then you can feel heard when you have more suggestions.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Question, yes.
So I'm familiar with Thornwich Drive, and I think they have a similar problem that I do in my section. So we live right by Pennsbury High School, and the buses and the people leaving the school fly during those school hours coming in and out. So I just wanted to make sure that the readings were done during the school year too. I didn't know when the readings were done, but I think it'd be important to make sure readings are being done during that school year so you can get the buses, because the biggest speeders in my neighborhood are the buses. So
They were.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, they were. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion for the recommendations as stated
So
in the
moved.
RBE report?
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, item number 8. So item number 8 is a consideration of approval of resolution declaring a portion of the Falls Township zoning ordinance substantively invalid and proposing to prepare a curative amendment to cure such invalidity pursuant to section 609-2 of the municipality's planning code. This is what's commonly referred to as a curative amendment. Ms. Gallagher or Mr. Clark, do you just want to go through the legality of this?
Sure.
Thank you.
So Section 609.2, as you mentioned, does provide for a procedural mechanism when the municipality believes that there may be a substantive invalidity in its ordinance. In order to invoke those procedural mechanisms, the township has to pass a resolution, which is in front of you this evening. What that does is it's a protective measure so that if there is a substantive validity challenge that comes in, the township does not have to entertain that substantive validity challenge during this 180-day period. So that would start this evening. We did take a look at the code, and we cited a couple of different sections in here that we believe may trigger this substantive invalidity. They are Chapter 209, Article 2, Section 5, Chapter 209, Article 4, District Regulations, Article 5, General Regulations, and Article 6, Exceptions and Modifications. So we've listed all those in this resolution. If this passes this evening, then the township staff will review those cited sections to determine whether or not there is, in fact, a validity that needs to be corrected. An ordinance amendment will be prepared and will be brought back to the board for consideration within that 180-day period.
Thank you, Ms. Gallagher. Board members? Any questions on the curative amendment?
No.
We heard the people in this 180 days moratorium, basically, and you'd be right, correct?
This is a procedural, it's a protective measure for any substantive validity challenge. So if a developer was to bring a substantive validity challenge for any of those sections that are cited, the township would not have to entertain that. But it's, like I said, it's just that protective mechanism.
No more questions.
Public comment? We're going to go, Tom, come on up. Just state your name and whether or not you're a Falls resident, please.
Kevin Schwaller. Last time I did speak, and I think I misspoke during the residence section. I'm 2 blocks outside of Falls Township in Lower Makefield. But,
well, that's why I called on you first. Go on.
Well, the data center, because of the proximity, is one of the things that I am concerned about. I just wanted to speak in support of the curative amendment. I do believe that there are things in the zoning code that could be improved. I'll have a couple questions here at the end. But for example, one of the things that we've heard a lot about is transparency and about being sure that the public knows what's going on. I think some of the confusion when this first came up was because it's in that MPM, that manufacturing production, material production and manufacturing zone. When people see it on the agenda, they don't associate that with the data center, right? They associate that as what they've heard in the past. And when you look at the uses listed under that, right, there's nothing that defines data center. There's a warehouse. There are some other things. But when you're reading through that, right, you're hearing very much the type of manufacturing that people associate with the steel mill that used to be there, and not something new. So I think that there are a lot of unique challenges that come along with regulating a data center and where it goes. And this is very important because the other thing you've heard is a lot of speculation already. People are afraid that there's going to be another surprise and that there will be more data centers that pop up in additional sites. And so if there's not a tool where we define exactly where these are allowed to be, in which zoning districts, where the public can go in and they can see which zoning districts they're allowed in, and make sure that we limit those to make sure that there isn't expansion that is not expected, and if there is an application for expansion, that the public has the opportunity to weigh in, to see this on the agenda, to come in and to speak their voice. So I think defining a data center is very important, and the challenges that come with it, including noise and other things. And just my couple questions here on it is I'm not able to just that quickly pull up the sections of the zoning code to view which ones are actually applicable under the curative amendment. So I do want to ensure that this will allow the township time to discuss defining data center and where those limits can be. And that's my first question. And then the second one is if there's an availability without needing to go through an RTK to be able to view this ordinance or this agenda item in full or other ordinances, so that people can actually read what's being voted on and be knowledgeable about that before they come up to the podium here. including myself, I would love to have, read through the curative amendment and be able to be a little bit more informed. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Shepherd, is this something we can post somewhere?
If we get to a point where there's a draft ordinance that is being provided to the Board of Supervisors for consideration, and ultimately it'll go to the local planning commission and the county, we can certainly post that on our website.
And,
Thank you.
and this would be a zoning ordinance, it would be required to be advertised and all that, so.
Okay. And we will be taking feedback via email or however else you want to get it to us. Next. You. No, come on up. Congratulations.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man. It was democratic. Okay. My name is Anthony Paul Pinto. I'm a Lower Makefield resident. I was a Falls resident. My kid still goes to Fallsington Elementary. You may know me from this. I just wanted to say thank you for taking my time. I did not see the non-resident list. I wanted to begin real quick and saying that the decision is bigger than this. Just I understand that there's a pause, but the spotlight is on us. Communities throughout Bucks County, beyond, are watching this board, how they handle everything this magnitude. I attended the meeting at Pennsbury. Some of us were there, some of us were not. Many of the residents felt, unimpressed, frustrated. We asked the DEP, we asked Amazon, we asked PICO, we asked MMA about power, water usage, all this stuff, and a lot of the questions were not answered. I'm sorry that Mr. Dell wasn't here to help me with that. I was going to raise something about the zoning for the fence, but I did not. Too many of those questions went unanswered, and it was really frustrating. During this time, I want to propose a community benefits agreement. What a community benefits agreement is basically, it's, like pre-op. And someone that's been married before, you understand that. It benefits both. So in case, if this project is expected to bring significant changes to our township, then the benefits to our community should be clearly defined, legally enforceable, and available for public review before decisions are made. Residents should know exactly what they're getting into and protecting themselves. I ask this board to remember that the concerns being raised tonight are not coming from just a handful of people, but a lot more. Residents in surrounding municipalities like myself and other ones like Marsville and across the river are worried about the well-being and understand the risk. I respectfully ask that you slow the process down even further and try to pursue this CBA, maybe just to protect us even more, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Dylan, I'm sorry, I forgot your last name. Do you want to come up? Spider-Man, I'm sorry.
Yes, hello. A couple things I wanted to say, and something I did not address is why I'm dressed like this, which I'm sure must have confused you. I completely forgot to make note of that. Bucks County Spider-Man, it's something I do to try to bring community advocacy. It is something I try to do to inspire people and raise awareness for issues going on in society. If anyone here has heard anything about it, I primarily do litter cleanup, but I'm just one guy trying to do as much as I can to help people, and I can't put emissions into a trash bag as much as I would love to. And I want to make sure that we have enough time because of the curative amendment to contact DEP and maybe raise questions about the numbers that I've brought to you today, and make sure that these aren't errors on their part, and that we know that this data center can either be shut down or delayed, or at least refined, scaled down to the point where we know it's going to be safe for everyone, because that's really all I'm trying to do at the end of the day. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Ms. Metzger?
Jen Metzger, Falls Township. I spoke before, so this will be quick. With the infrastructure, concerned as to why it is that for the Amazon data warehouses, why it is they didn't have to go through and bring their own power, or they didn't have to figure out what the water and utility usage was going to be once they changed it. Literally March 24, 2025, when it went from distribution to a digital infrastructure campus. That was what we got during the meeting. And a bunch of us asked questions about these utilities, so we're hoping that when you rewrite some of these ordinances, you can look at kind of all of it. Is the infrastructure being written into the code? Our emergency, encroachment into the community, safety, the biological and chemicals that are in these facilities, because there are a lot of different things that are affected in these ordinances because they're just not mentioned at all. And granted, our world has changed, right? So this is like the fight with the IRS about cryptocurrencies. They didn't write anything in until 6 years later. And that's why we're asking you now, when you do this mini moratorium for future, what is it going to look like for the rest of the warehouses down there in the Keystone Trade Center in North Point? What is it going to look like for places like the Newly warehouse that are being brought up into Falls Township onto Penn Valley Road? Can you go to your Board of Commissioners? That's where we originally asked for this to even land on your agenda. Have them help you, because they're rewriting ordinances for all of the townships. Paizo in Bensalem is offering to do a 3-month draft on September 1st. So that's what we would ask is, can you actually visit this 3 months from now and say, hey, this is the rough draft, this is what everybody had a chance to look at. Can we make sure that it's hitting all of these things, especially if you're willing to post it, which is amazing. So we appreciate what you're doing. Please ask for help. Please also consider for them bringing their own power. So some of the other townships like Bensalem, when they're considering these ordinances, are going to look at solar. They're going to look at fusion, which is nuclear. They're going to look at whether or not these natural gas generators are really bringing their own power, because generation is kind of a falsehood word, right? It's a funny word because they're actually using natural gas from us in order to power those generators. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Batiste, do you want to make a comment?
Tony Batiste, Ferris Hills. I'm concerned that you've only listed 4 areas in the whole zoning section, and I'm thinking that probably most of it should be re-looked at in terms of what we need to do as a community to make sure that anything that goes out there is safe, because nowhere are we saying anything about making sure that that brownfield isn't a brownfield anymore, that we're making sure that the places that were supposed to be covered are still need to be covered, are covered and not disturbed. That needs to be in there too. So just to limit it to 4, I think is not a good thing. And of course, trusting here, I would be concerned if any of Amazon or North Point has been involved in helping to decide what needs to be revamped. Not that they did, but the thought is out there. So I just think limiting it to 4 is not the way it should go. And if you need people to come in, I'm sure we can find volunteers to help come in and say, hey, maybe we need to look at this, maybe we need to look at this. Do they have the financial responsibility to make sure that the land is going to be the same as they get it? Or it's not going to be worse? I mean, who's going to be responsible for that? If they decide to shut down because all the new tech gets smaller and smaller and they don't need the big buildings, what then? How are they leaving us? What about our fire and police people? If there's a fire out there, who's managing it? Who's paying for it? Who's got the equipment to actually control it? And there's chemical companies out there too. If that spreads to the chemical companies, then what? That's what I'm saying. There needs to be some financial responsibility and it needs to be defined. It needs to be what is good for the health and safety of the residents, plus the people that are actually working there, all 10 of them. But anyhow, you get the point. There needs to be responsibility, and it needs to be defined before they come in, especially if they're going to expand. There needs to be limits on the expansion. There needs to be limits on how many megawatts or mega gigawatts, whatever, that they're going to be using. There needs to be limits on water. There just need to be limits. I'm not saying, hey, we've got billions to come and spend in your community. Do they? And will they? Just saying.
Thanks, Tony.
And that's mine.
Anyone else for public comment on this agenda item? Okay, thank you all. So, I appreciate y'all coming, and I just want to sort of be honest about just some of my concern. I mean, I don't take this lightly, and I don't think any municipality should. This is something that we're kind of we're activating this now. We can't use it again for 3 years, and a lot of this stuff is still very much in its infancy, like these townships and ordinances that are being written. I'm not sure if they've caught up to, you know, what the public wants or what is required. So I am nervous, and I think that much of our ordinance is more restrictive than some of our current ordinance is more restrictive than some of the samples that I've seen because of our location at Keystone. I'm not saying that there's not room for improvement and that we can't do things, but I'm just hearing a lot, like, we don't have a magic wand to just say, you know, you can't, you know, you have to do these 100 things in order to come to our township. There are legal things involved. You can't be so restrictive that it's impossible for a business to come here. So I guess I just want to make sure that we're all putting our next foot forward in the right headspace of being kind of grounded in facts and professional guidance and what's ultimately in the long-term best interest of the township. And, you know, I hope that this is a credit to you that we're doing this. We want you to know that we are open-minded, taking this seriously, and that we hear you. So we're going to take a look. We're going to get your feedback. I think it's a fine idea that we can kind of share our progress as we go along. So, you know, kudos to all of you. So with that being said, is there any other comments from the board?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We'll get to work on that. Okay, so item number 9 is consideration of approval of resignation of James Goodwin from the Township of Falls Authority effective July 22nd, 2026. Any questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment? Okay, is there a motion to accept the resignation or approve the resignation of James Goodwin from the township effective July 27th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Goodwin. Item 10 is consideration of approval of ratification of approval to authorize the township manager to engage in the services of Flesher Forensics for professional litigation services for relating to the Falls Township Municipal Building. Mr. Shepherd, do you just want to go through what we're doing here?
Yeah, I will. We, you know, as the board knows, some of the public know, the municipal building project didn't go exactly to plan. So we have some things we want to take a look at, make sure there's nothing that we've missed on our end from a standpoint of liability from anybody that was used in constructing the building, designing the building, things of that nature. So this will give us an opportunity, if we need an expert, we can engage their services and we can get some recommendations on what potentially, there's liability out there that's not related to the township. So this really does our due diligence concerning the building and making sure we don't leave any stones unturned.
Thank you. Is there questions from the board?
No question.
Any public comment? Go ahead.
Jen Metzger, Falls Township. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to do this, because I know this is hard to go back and look at all of the paperwork and all of the details and kind of go back over everything. We're not saying that it was intentional, but we do appreciate that you're reviewing everything. We're concerned about whether or not it's going to be all of the change orders that are reviewed, or if it's just going to be the project in general. Is it going to look specifically at the lights or at drainage? Is it going to look at the stairs that needed to be reinforced because of something that seemed obvious to most of us, but maybe wasn't in the drawings? Like, how in-depth is this going to go? And is this just an overview kind of review of the project and all of the change orders, or is it further than that already?
No, it's very deep. That's why we're engaging a forensic expert. Forensics do the deep dives required of something in this scale.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 11, for which we are not taking any action, but will accept some public comment on the ordinance, the proposed ordinance amending Chapter 168, definitions, motor vehicles. So, kind of the e-bike ordinance. Sir, please come up. Just state your name.
Hello, Christopher Haynes. I'm a resident of Falls Township. My wife spoke earlier. We're both e-bike riders in the park. We ride about 5 nights a week there. I can say in the last 6 months we've been doing that, we've had no incidents with any adult riders. I have witnessed a few underage or teenagers on mini bikes, throttle-only bikes that are problematic there, but we've been riding those trails, like I said, 5 nights a week without issue. And also that other state parks, Bucks County parks, follow the DCNR policies, and I would hope that Falls would not be more restrictive than the state and Bucks County parks. So just consideration for the responsible riders, and maybe come up with a way to police the irresponsible riders with, restrictions of throttle-only bikes and speed limits, class 2 bikes or less. Just hope for consideration for the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both, actually. I just want to let you know that your email that you sent us had provoked several conversations individually among the board, so thank you. Any other public comment on this issue, please?
Jeannie Fissinger, Falls Township. I agree with this couple right here. I hope that you don't punish people who really need to have some sort of pedal assist on their bike, the e-bikes, especially the class 1, class 2. For instance, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I did get stuck somewhere one time. My sugar drops really fast, and somebody had to drive back to the house to get me sugar pills and things to eat, and then drive me back and pick up the bike. So I really would appreciate if you could keep this so that I can keep exercising safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Metzger? There's only one.
I was expecting Tony to step up. I was hoping. We were talking about this in the traffic committee a couple of times too, and there are some really great organizations that kind of jump in and do like assemblies and stuff for the kids in like middle school, but they're not able to do it at the high school where it's probably a little more relevant. Some of the concerns are really when kids are getting these e-bikes on the street and their parents aren't saying, hey, you need helmets, you need to make sure that your reflector's on, make sure you're not wearing all black at 3 a.m. in the morning, because our police officers can't chase them on highways because you don't want to cause an accident, you don't want the kid to get hurt. But on the same token, like, how do you stop them or ever get to mom or dad, if mom or dad even could be involved? And then the other problem is some of these people could possibly be using these to get back and forth to work, because not everybody can afford a car here, right? Falls Township has a very wide range of income. So yes, definitely want to be fair to everybody who needs them, but also try to figure out if there's any way for us to implement anything with the kids or people that really shouldn't be using them, especially on highways, like Lincoln Highway where we've seen it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kirk?
I agree with everybody that if you're using them safely, that's the way they should be at the parks. But I have little ones, and at the park we were almost hit by a kid on an e-bike, almost hit my little guy because he was flying around, not paying attention. So is there a way, like, are the park rangers allowed to police it? Like, we need to come up with a way to make sure people who are doing it safely are allowed to do it, they're doing it the right way, it's a great exercise, people going to and from to work, but also making sure people who are being reckless, there's a way that we can stop them in that, because if he almost hit my kid, he could have almost hit somebody else. So if there's a way for us to maybe work with the park rangers or something like that, just to make sure it's safe in the parks, I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this issue? Okay, thank you, everyone, for your comments. All right, we're going to move, yes, please. Ms. Hayes, right?
I just wondered, since you're not making a move on it tonight, when it will be addressed?
It'll be back next month.
Next month?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, item 10, what are we on? Item 12. Consideration of approval of 2026 diesel and unleaded fuel bids.
Yeah, so we have these, this is an annual bid that goes out through the consortium. So we have the recommendation for the board for Riggins Incorporated. That would be for ultra low sulfur diesel, less than 5,999 gallons. And also for Sunoco, they would provide unleaded regular gasoline, 8,000 gallons or greater. So I did confirm with the solicitor, and he said we can make those as one motion.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No question.
Any public comment on these bids? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item number 13, consideration of approval of escrow release. It's 2 escrow releases, one for Lower Bucks Home Builders for $156,447, and one for Sunbelt Forest Products at 400 Rock Run Road for $19,264.35. Based on Jones Engineering Associates, the work has been completed to their satisfaction, and the amounts are recommended for release. Any questions from the board?
None.
Any public comment? Is there a motion to approve these escrow releases?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody have any appointments to boards for tonight?
No.
Okay. Item number 15 is the minutes. These are the minutes from June 22nd, 2026. Excellent minutes, as always, but are there any corrections, clarifications that the board wishes to make at this time?
None.
Are there any public comment needed? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, item number 16 is the engineer report.
So right now, the 2026 road program they're currently on Willow Drive. They have demo for new installation. They are also setting some structures and some of the storm drain. And then for Pennsbury, they're prepping the foundation. They're installing sanitary and storm sewer infrastructure and constructing the storm sediment basin near Queen Anne and Hood. And this work will continue for the next few weeks.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on the engineer report?
No.
No.
Okay, moving on, item 17 is the bill list. Any comments or questions from the board on the bill list? The primary July bills list total is $3.38 million. Of that amount, 1.3 or 40% is payroll and benefits. And a large part of the remaining 60% were our commercial insurance policies for the township, totaling $733,600.56. Any questions from the board on any of these?
No.
Any public comment? Ms. Batiste, please come up.
The second one under number 1, Barry Isid and Associates and United Inspection Agency. What are those inspection services for?
Mr. Shepherd, can you clarify?
Yeah, they do all the inspections, right? So they're doing building-related inspections for the code enforcement department. So they do a bunch of different inspections for them.
Okay, so they're not anything to do with the data center?
They may inspect there, but if they're inspecting there, it's because we've requested them to go to, related to a permit.
Okay. And down where it's the PLGIT Township debit card, 54,000, does that include the software for like to run this and our computer software?
Pligett's is just who actually issues the credit card. So that's a combined list of all the credit card purchases made. So we have e-procurement through cards. So that's what that illustrates.
But they're debit and not credit.
They're credit. They may call it debit, but Pligett's that's what Pliggett is.
Oh, because it says debit card. That's
It
why
could be. They may consider it that from their perspective. Because
okay. Only because I'm looking at membership renewal, certifications, seminars, materials. For 54,000, that's a lot.
there's a lot of things that's procured electronically. Anything we buy from, let's just say from Amazon, which is obviously a vendor we could have, or if it's through Home Depot, it could be on one of those cards.
Okay.
So instead of issuing them purchase order, right, kind of like a traditional vendor that we would have locally, and then paying them with an individual check, it's just a little bit different how the transaction works.
Okay, because I was looking at the membership renewals for things and seminars and materials and in there.
No, it's a lot of
What are
just
you
like
guys
regular.
going to? Or
I
just
know, no,
hotel bills and
it's
state
a
dinners?
ton of like miscellaneous supplies, a mail sorter, magnet holders, like it's kind of anything.
All sorts of things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay. Just looking at maybe
No, I get you.
cutting the budget a little.
Thank you. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 18, Jones Engineering Associates bill list. This is a bill in the amount of $265,582.50. Questions from the board on the engineer invoice?
No.
Public comment? Okay, is there a motion to pay this invoice?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, going down. All right, item number 19, manager comment.
Nothing additional tonight, thank you.
Any board comment? Mr. Lotecki?
I have none.
Mr. Palmer?
No comment.
Do you know what my comment was last month? I thanked you for the air conditioning. I got it. I would like it to be a little warmer in here if we can figure out how to do that. Thank you all for coming, and I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it. All in favor, aye.
Aye.